Ciao Juventini of the world, my name is Giuseppe, welcome back on the channel. What you just saw was Bepe's reaction every single morning while reading Gazzetta dello Sport. And every single morning I don't stop at the images, the big title, but I'm reading the entirety of the article because I want to have also a different story. Not only Tutto Sport that is really pro-Juve, but also an article, a paper that is a bit anti-Juve, so that I have two versions and I make myself my own idea. But I can't do it. It's stronger than me. That's my little pleasure. Every single morning while reading Gazzetta dello Sport, I try to see if there is something anti-Juve. And you know what? There is every single morning an anti-Juve thing. What I found this morning in the image that you just saw, brillano le stelle, is incredible. I don't know if it's funny, if it's pathetic, I have no idea. Someone needs really to explain me. I will tell you in a second what I identified this morning, but remain on the channel because today, mercato, a meeting today for trying to sign a player that a lot of us really like and can change the way of playing of Juventus. And towards the end of the video, remain on the channel until the end, there will be a list of huge important players that are linked to Juve. I don't know if they will be signed or not, but these are important, so remain for the entirety of the video, especially because today it's mercato. But let's go back to that picture. Brillano le stelle, Gazzetta dello Sport. The little stars are shining. They are speaking about the under-19 Italian national team that just won Euro with Italy, luckily, the only team that won a trophy for Italy. They brought it back. Great. Beautiful performance from all of them, and they are focusing on the future possible stars with 6 players that they have put in stars, some a bit smaller, some a bit bigger, and all of them received the description, the name, the place of birth, the date of birth, the role they are playing, and also the team they are playing in, so that we have information about players that we don't really know. And you can see it, Giacomo Faticanti, I give you an example, nato a Roma, born in Rome on the 31st of July 2004, role is a midfielder of Roma. Alessandro Della Valle, the one that you are seeing in the biggest picture, born in Torino on the 11th of May 2004, defender of Torino. And you go like this for every single player. Cher Endur, midfielder of Paris Saint-Germain. Michael Kayode is an external, a winger of Fiorentina. And then the striker of Monza, Samuele Vignato. Every time the same structure, name, date of birth, place of birth, the role and the team. All of them except of one. And you can guess it, Luis Haza, our jewel from the under-19. They are writing Luis Haza is born in Sora, Frosinone. He's born on the 6th of January 2004. His role is offensive winger. What team is he playing at? There is no team. Looks like the people that were doing the graphic of Gazzetta dello Sport, the one that were writing the article, it was a bit harsh for them. It was difficult for them to write the word Juventus. Looks like they said to their chief, if I have to put Juventus under the name of Luis Haza, I give my dismissal, because Juventus is not in my vocabulary. Juventus is not in my dictionary. I am allergic to Juventus. Ragazzi, disaster. I'm not even mentioning that Alessandro Della Valle was not even the best player, because it was Luis Haza that received the little star. But Alessandro Della Valle is a player from Torino. You know that the paper Gazzetta dello Sport is owned by Cairo, the president of Torino, even if it's a unofficial Inter page, because the most Interisti are happy and buying Gazzetta dello Sport. They are pushing a bit in the front Alessandro Della Valle, the cousin of the other one that did a fantastic tournament, the other Della Valle from under-19. But anyway, it is what it is, ragazzi. Today I told you a lot of things has to be said in today's video. But first of all, let me know. Am I exaggerating? Am I obsessed? Is it something that you want to know? Do you want me to continue to spot these anti-Juve details? Because you know it, the devil is in the detail. Let me know if I want to continue or not. Put a maximum of like if you didn't yet subscribe to the channel, because we go with a lot of information. The first one, Nicolas Kira, is reporting us that today, as we speak, there will be a meeting between Juventus and Spezia to talk about Emil Holm, the Swedish player that Juventus is really interested in, right fullback. Spezia, since the beginning, they never changed their asking price between 13 and 50 million euro. There were a lot of teams on the player, like Inter, that is now giving up. Why? Because with Dumfries and Cuadrado, they are okay on the right side of the field. Holm is a player that can change Juventus, continuing to play in that 3-5-2 as an external, as a winger, as a fullback, or playing in that 4-man defense on the right back. And that can be a decisive moment for Juventus to change formation in the future if we are able to fix one on the left. But anyway, today talks, there are some players that Spezia is interested in from Juventus, like for example Barbieri. Talks today, Juventus is considering 13-15 too high, but let's see. Yesterday, Timothy Weah was back in La Continassa. How did he present himself? With a nutmeg. Nutmeg, oui monsieur, oui madame, to Ealing Jr. Beautiful images. And then we continue with Sports Week that wrote an article with Timothy Weah and his father, George Weah, that said the agreement between Timothy and Juve made myself a happy man. Well, if you are happy, George, I am happy. But of course now, not only in training session, but we want to see the potential of the new, and at the moment, only new player of Juventus, Timothy Weah. Welcome, Timmy. If you can continue to nutmeg not only your own players, but the opponents, that would be fantastic. Attenzione, Lukaku news. Noi Lukaku non lo vogliamo. Do you remember yesterday I told you the 20 guys there in front of J Medical that were singing "We don't want Lukaku"? Apparently, it looks like Giuntoli was inside the J Medical. He heard the 20 supporters of Juve that said that they didn't want Lukaku. And what is happening today? Lukaku is further away from Juventus. This has been reported by two pages, Gazzetta and Tuttosport. Looks like at the moment, there is no done deal with Lukaku, and if a few days ago Lukaku was closer to Juventus as the replacement of Dusan Vlahovic, looks like now, even if Dusan is leaving, he's not sure to join Juventus. Why and how? Let's discover it on the other pages. La Gazzetta dello Sport with Tifosi in Rivolta, the supporters that are in a rebellion, they are rebels, they want to protest. Lukaku, they don't want them, the supporters of Juve. And then for Cuadrado, looks like he is the anti-Nerazzurro, or has always been the anti-Nerazzurro. The Ultras was asking a face-to-face to explain him, to share him the values of Inter. I'm asking myself, what will they tell them? What are the values of Inter? That there are no players that have to simulate, that you just don't jump, that you don't create fake penalties? Maybe they have to speak at home with Lautaro, with Barella, without mentioning all the other players that are a bit easy to fall on the ground. Anyway, it is what it is. The funny thing, of course, of Gazzetta dello Sport is that today, again, Lukaku topless. Cuadrado with a shirt of Inter, Lukaku not with the shirt of Juve, topless. Why not? Why not? They can do a graphic of Lukaku with the Juve shirt, but no, they prefer not. No, let's push that idea. Tuttosport is saying Lukaku spacca la Juve, Cuadrado spacca l'Inter. They're speaking about the two players that are actually breaking the tifosi from both teams. And then the beautiful news that we already read yesterday evening during the live. There is a possible change of shirt for the two players, but the arrival of Big Rom to Torino is linked to Vlahovic, but looks like now it's looking further away. Why? Because Al-Hilal is increasing the first initial offer from Big Rom, the Belgian player, from 30 million euro a year. They are going towards a 40 million euro, which is huge. What a huge offer for Lukaku that I already told you, already tried to contact Conte to tell them, what do we do? Do we go there? Yes or no? Well, looks like Conte told him no. He wanted to go to Juve at the moment because Juve is taking time and Chelsea is putting pressure on the player to find the team. Looks like the opportunity to go to win so many money to Saudi Arabia could be real for Al-Hilal. If I'm not wrong, the team that already signed Koulibaly, Sergej Milinkovic-Savic, they can go for Lukaku. Attenzione, of course there are other names in the list of Juve. If Dusan Vlahovic is still being sold, they can be Jonathan David, Okafor, and another Derby d'Italia with Morata. Morata that is looking more and more that he wants to go to Inter. After Cuadrado, we could possibly see another Juventino going to Inter, and we are speaking about Morata. Morata is open to every possible destination in Italy, it's Milan, Roma, whatever. Well, Inter is growing there, and they are thinking about the experience, 30 years old, or let's say, according to Gazzetta dello Sport, Morata, the 30 years young player, that's one of their targets. But Vlahovic, he wants to go to Paris Saint-Germain because he already found an agreement with Paris Saint-Germain for a higher salary. He can play Champions League, but at the moment Juventus didn't receive yet the offer. I saw a lot of people celebrating for Lukaku not arriving to Juve, and I told you I don't want Lukaku. If Lukaku is not coming and you tell me Beppe, Jonathan David is the player there, I'm happy. If you tell me Mikau Datse, a player that you can try, you can test, if it's not working, you can resell, why not? If you tell me Wahi, if you tell me these kind of players instead of Lukaku, I'm more than happy. But if you are telling me Lukaku is not coming because Dusan Vlahovic is not being sold, we have a problem. Don't celebrate too much, because if Dusan Vlahovic wants to go to Paris Saint-Germain, but Paris Saint-Germain can't afford themselves to pay the 90 million cash that Juventus is asking, the problem is that Vlahovic could remain at Juve, which is not a problem because I love Vlahovic, but another player could leave. And that's why Tuttosport today is speaking about Chiesa, un pieno di fede, full of hope, because he will start the season regularly, which he couldn't do last year because of injury. We are counting on him a lot. We are expecting the season Federico Chiesa, but the future remains uncertain. Why? I believe it's really linked also to the sale of one big player, the sale of Dusan Vlahovic. Ragazzi, if we can't sacrifice Dusan Vlahovic, I'm scared for Federico Chiesa. So let's wait and monitor the situation, but everything is linked. And apparently Paris Saint-Germain, they have asked an ultimatum to Mbappé to decide, if not this week, today already, to go to Real Madrid, yes or no. If this happened, domino effect. In the meanwhile, Federico Chiesa was giving his best in training session yesterday. We saw him training. Anyway, Juventus already started now to sell with Filippo Ranocchia to Empoli. I didn't want that we were doing deals with Empoli after the Parisi affair, but on the other side, Juventus is smart because they're already thinking about the future. And Baldanzi, fantastic player, fantastic young players, he could be blocked. And the beautiful relationship between Juve and Empoli, beautiful. For Empoli, it's beautiful. For Juve, not that much. Well, they could find an agreement to already stop and block Baldanzi 1 more year on loan to Empoli, but then the year later bring him back to Torino. Fantastic. Valerio Pieraccini was resuming a bit what has been said in Tuttosport about Arthur, another player that is about to leave. There is already an agreement kind of with La Viola, with Fiorentina. Arthur going there for 2 million loan immediately, 18 million the option to buy, half of the salary paid by both clubs, which would be for Juventus a big saving on Arthur. Yesterday I saw, according to Alfredo Pedulla, that Fiorentina is not really eager to pay 50% of the salary. They want to go towards 25-30%, which is really low. I tell you one thing, if we can cash in for Arthur, okay, let's do it at 50% of the salary. Why not? Because you are saving, and it's a player that you have not in your team. Otherwise, it can create toxicity, problems, and so on. On the other side, I already know, and I can already guarantee you, even if he's doing a fantastic season, at 20 million euro total, to take him definitely from Juve with the salary that he has, I think that he will go on loan, and then next year he's back, and that will be his last year of contract. Let's see what will happen with Arthur. Anyway, if he can leave, I'm happy. Like Pellegrini, because Lazio, that was certain to have the player from the Netherlands that was playing in Eredivisie, Milos Kerkez. Apparently, Kerkez is closer and closer to Bournemouth, so they are losing their player, their target, and they would possibly come back on Pellegrini. Pellegrini with a loan with an option to buy at 8 million euro. What about the winter? A lot of requests on the winter, like for example, yesterday, Nicolas Kira was saying Lille and Reims, two teams from Ligue 1, are on the player, but apparently he wants to convince Juventus that he's a Juve player, but also Juventus are more and more convinced that he can be a player for 23-24 in our team, especially now with Bonucci out of the team. Attention to the winter that step by step is climbing the hierarchy and can be a real first team player. I would be fantastically happy with that news. Anyway, I told you in the beginning of the video, remain on the channel because there is a list of players that you could potentially like in the future. Everything is linked, of course, to the players that we are able to sell, from McKennie to Arthur to Zakaria, but also some other players from our midfield, like Paul Pogba. What will be his decision? I already spoke so many times about him, so I don't want to repeat myself. But in case Paul could leave, we already are trying to find some alternatives, like Chiesa. Beautiful opportunity on loan, cheap for a 26 years old player that has really that characteristics, knowing the league, knowing the language, physical, strong, running for 90 minutes, a player that can do defensively fantastic work and can also go up on the field. Attenzione to Chiesa on top of that list. But on top of that, you have still some young players like Samardzic. Who is Samardzic? Well, player from Udinese, but he's also into La Scuderia in the agency of Raffaella Pimenta. While speaking about Pogba, she also put that name there. It will be expensive, but it's a player, 21 years old, that I really appreciate. On top of that, you have another player. I don't know if it's fantasy, if it's craziness, but from time to time, I see him again linked to Juve and my heart goes... Kephren Thuram. There are a lot of teams on the French player, son of Thuram, but if we can bring the good Thuram, Kephren Thuram for me is stronger than his brother, different position, I would be so happy. You can't even imagine Kephren Thuram. Even if at the moment I believe that we have like 5 or 10% of possibilities. Cherki, still there in the list, total different player, but in a way, when I'm thinking about it, they spoke about Casadei, they are speaking about Baldanzi, now they're speaking about Cherki. Players that can be that offensive midfielder. Koopmeiners, the experienced name that is still there, another one. Look, if I have to choose between these players, I have difficulties because I like all of them. Cherki, different role, but the other players are nearly, in terms of role, the same with different characteristics, and I really appreciate them. I don't know if you like them or not. Let's see, I'm curious. Let me know what you thought about all the video, especially the beginning with Gazzetta dello Sport and my obsession, but also which would be your preferred one between Chiesa, Samardzic, Kephren Thuram, Cherki, Koopmeiners, in case Pogba would leave, or in case you really need an extra midfielder. Let me know. Grazie, forza, Juve.